Save, 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 then you invest. Save, then you want your extra, not to just sit in savings, because you've saved, you've got that cushion. And I like cushions for entrepreneurs. I'm sorry. For myself, I like to see a cushion before we start putting money out there that we may not get back. When I hire someone, I'm paying money that they haven't made back for me yet. So that's as much of risk, right, as anything. And payroll is a huge risk for small businesses. Hiring people and you don't have standard operating procedures, or you don't know what you specifically want them to do, and they're riding out your payroll clock. Now you still got to pay these people. And what's worse, the way I did it years ago, so okay, I'm talking about some bad decisions. Now I got 3-4 people in my nice 14th floor office downtown, and I'm hitting my line of credit every payroll to pay them. Nuts. Because I remember that year. It was like 2007, 2008. I was living high on the debt hog, because that's what it ended up being. Debt I had to pay back. When I released them, wouldn't file unemployment on me, so then my unemployment rates go up. All this foolishness, craziness, because I didn't know. You're listening to the Money Doctor, Money Talk for Modern Entrepreneurs podcast. And I'm your host and founder, Mildred Dillon, CPA. And you know, as a modern entrepreneur, you're not just getting up and going to sit behind a desk all day. Chances are you're probably driving right now with your phone in your hand, mapping your way to your next destination. Because you work online and your systems are mobile, you can work from anywhere. Not key punching, but scrolling through social media or creating your own posts so that you can share your offerings with the world. Oh, you relate? You're a modern entrepreneur? Well, you're going to love what we do here on this podcast, because each and every episode and guest will give you tips and strategies that you can use on one of those apps to get your finances in order, in good health, all while on the go. If you're ready to get to work, let's go. Okay, for this month's episode, we're going to be talking about investing. And I'm going to be sharing some personal experiences that I've had, not so much with just bad investments, which, trust me, I can attest to some of those, before I learned what we're going to talk about on this episode. But before we do that, a little bit of housekeeping. We just finished the big April deadline for most of the taxpayers out there, for personal returns especially, but some corporate returns. If you look at anything that I share in my messaging on social media or in videos, you will see I'm a big fan of extensions for entrepreneurs. Probably my most recent episodes, you've heard me really, as I say, beat a dead horse. Well, if you're one of those people who ignored me and you filed anyway for different reasons, it could be that you were really ready to go. And hey, I say, get this behind you. You're going to see why that's an advantage when we talk about this investing conversation. So you were ready to go, get it behind you. It doesn't get any easier to squeeze it into our schedules, is what I mean. And let's face it, I mean, seasons are changing. Our interests are changing. And this is the time of year that people are going to be doing those extra things with their money, or need their money to help them do them. Of course, we're talking about summer vacations, school being out, and just all the fun things that we work for, right? Hopefully we're doing that. So just got past that deadline. I have to be honest, I'm still in tax mode though as I record this, because I do help nonprofits. So we're still dealing with the deadline, May 15th. And for folks who extended, I filed extensions for. I'm inviting them all to get the taxes still behind them if we can get it done by the end of May. And at that point, I'm taking some time off until late August when we come back. And now we've got to, face those extensions. So just a word, if you're one of those people, you kind of got caught off guard, hopefully you at least filed the extension. But for sure, if you didn't file an extension, you are not entitled to that extra time to file. So reach out to me so you can catch this wave of at least putting a plan in place. Because again, it doesn't get easier and it won't get less expensive if you have a tax liability out there. So there's that. But again, if you filed your return, there's some distinct advantages to that, because for starters, You now know where you stand. If you had a tax bill, you hopefully paid it, or you're on a payment plan to pay it. And that is definitely an option for you. So if you get one of those notices that even they changed their return, something got reported that you didn't know about, all the stuff I've been talking about, they a lot of times will just adjust it for you. They meaning the IRS, not speaking for states, but some of them will do it too if you've got state income tax. They'll just go ahead and make the adjustment, send you a letter and say, hey, this is what you should have filed. And if you agree with this, sign here and this is what you owe. Sometimes they're going to send notices with questions. Again, that's what we don't want. That's why we want to take extra time. But don't ignore the notice. It could be something so simple, like I'll tell you a big one, the affordable health care, the marketplace, insurance marketplace, that form 1095A. A lot of people, for different reasons, don't get it, or they missed one, for health coverage. And so that has to be part of your return if you're getting those tax credits. So that's a common one. And then, of course, just 1099s, again, that got reported that you didn't know about, or just even W-2s, believe it or not, people don't know about, or they're just not remembering, because people do have multiple jobs, even if it's for a few months. Get that W-2 out there. So lots of things can trigger notices coming in the mail, but don't ignore them. Now, one thing I did put in my newsletter this past December is the IRS is now going back to pandemic time and actually forgiving some penalties due to them taking some time off, as you know, from the pandemic. Taxpayers they stopped sending notices out. So don't ignore the notices, because it could be related to something like that. And obviously that's good news you want to know about. I'll tell you one thing that really helped one of my clients, because they weren't sure. I wasn't sure. What have y'all paid? What do I need to send in with the extension? And so I had them pull a tax account transcript. So that's available to you also. Just go to irs.gov and fill out whatever you need to fill out. You may have an account already. If you don't, they'll help you set one up. But just look at your tax account, just overall. Now, you've got different types of transcripts. You've got the tax return transcript. So that shows you returns that have been filed. Look, even if they filed for you, IRS does do that. Substitute for return, meaning we just haven't got anything from you. We're going to go ahead and just create a return, and based on what we have, file for you. So these are the things that just don't make sense in a lot of cases if you're listening to a podcast like this, to let that happen, because a lot of times you're leaving money on the table when they do that. So this is your money. You're entitled to it. Let's get your money back if you are. So that's the tax conversation. Okay. And I'm going to move on from taxes. This is for modern entrepreneurs. This is for entrepreneurs with families. These are for solopreneurs. I'm in that category. We are a unique group, business owners, who we have chosen, whether you looked at it this way or not, to invest in us by running a business that we can control. Really, when you're investing in the stock market, you're still investing in a business. It's just one that you don't control, one that you hope, fingers crossed over here as I say that, you hope they're doing the right thing with your money, but you don't know. Look at what's happening right now with just Tesla is a big one. But just this week, I saw a couple like national big companies are laying people off. So you don't know what's going on in these boardrooms, but I'll tell you what I know, because I do financial statements for a living. Quarterly reports are due. And so every quarter they have to put out financial statements, and it's not looking good for a lot of big companies, because they have a lot of fat, number one, a lot of just corporate waste, like government waste. And they're having to really get creative because there's so much just inventory sitting on shelves. It's nuts what I saw Christmas Eve. Yes, I'll wait to the last minute every year, typically, to deal with that. And I'm walking the shelves. I was so stunned, I had to just pull out my phone and start videoing. Like, are you kidding me? Look at the selection. There's no way in the world I should have this kind of selection waiting till the day before. But I saw it for Easter. I'm seeing it. And so, yeah, I'm looking at all this a little differently, because I know is money sitting in that inventory. And some of it goes bad, perishable. Okay, so they'll never get that money because they didn't make the sale. And so when you start talking about financial statements, that's where you see the real hit of that. And so when you're talking about public companies who have stockholders, okay, again, you could be one of them if you own the stock. They have a duty to be profitable and keep your stock price as high as possible. So what does that mean? Well, we got to cut costs somewhere. Guess where they're cutting? People. It's the easiest, quickest place to do it, especially with technology. Sounds heartless, doesn't it? It's real people's lives. That's just, what did I read? One company, and I don't want to do too much naming of companies on my show, but that's a very well-known one. He stays in the news, Elon Musk. But I was stunned. You know, he moves from California to Texas. So, you know, he's saving money. He's definitely saving on state income tax. And all of a sudden, even after 2 years, you know, they're having to do cost reduction. So I'll tell you, it's a scary time. But the email, what grabbed me was people Monday morning, I believe it was Monday, literally the email said, don't come into work unless you hear from us to come in. So you picture if they're not like us, where they're creating their own income and they're in control of what their Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday mornings look like. These are advantages that we have. Also, a lot of responsibility comes with that, obviously. That's why I guess I have a podcast talking about it and all of our issues and challenges that we face. But that's the benefit. Now, I ain't gonna lie. I told somebody this week, I said, man, I'm quitting more often. Every week I'm quitting, or sometimes several times a week. But guess what? Obviously, I'm going back to work. I'm making light of it. But, you know, it's just how we feel some days. It's not getting easier out here, I'll tell you that. And I speak that as an established business owner who knows what she does, knows my lane, knows how to do it, knows what we do, because I am expanding my team again. So I brought on my first assistant, and hopefully I got something in my inbox from someone else. But my point is, I'm not new at this, and I'm feeling it, meaning my time is spread so thin now between just marketing and what's required to get noticed and get people's attention. And it's such a time suck is what I call a lot of it, because we haven't really been trained on how to do this. And the only other option is to pay to play, pay for ads, which to me is like straight up gambling. I mean, especially it is gambling if you don't even know the basics of your company and you don't have your landing pages set up. And I ran a few ads. I did a little test stuff back during COVID, and I got noticed. But if you don't have your systems in place to capture these people, offer them something of value, then you got to keep talking to them, email marketing. Now you got to keep them interested. Finally, you want a bigger offer because this is how you get paid. It's a lot of work now to do this thing online. But I tell you, it's also the biggest way to scale. So once you get those questions answered, I guess let me give you some good news so you'll keep listening and you won't go start looking for a job tomorrow. Unless it's working for yourself, of course. But, you know, the good news is hopefully it's a passion. Okay. And if something's a passion, you're going to do it for free. All I'm trying to tell you is you may have to. You may have to for a minute longer than it used to be. You may have to do it for free. So, all right, let me get focused because I do have some talking points here. And I did promise you we were going to talk about investing. But guess what? That's investing too. We're talking about investing in us. Okay, so I think I went on that long tangent to say the methodology that I grew up in, growing up in a family business. So entrepreneurship literally runs in my family, not just my immediate family, aunts, uncles, you name it. We're all working for ourselves for the most part. Created our own thing. We just choose to take the risk with us versus I'm trusting you to do better with my money than I can do. Think about it, because that's what you're saying. I got extra money. Let me give it to you versus what this investing for us as entrepreneurs looks like, reinvesting in my business when I hire people. And now I'm going to be honest, I'm close to getting some ads. So that's reinvesting. Okay. That's me with the extra profits I have now putting it back into the business. And can I just tell you, those things become write-offs. when you put in the stock market, business owners, there's not a lot of deductions we can do with something like that. And you got to wait. And yeah, we know you can deduct losses and offset gains and stuff like that. But that's not the real nitty gritty of how you pay less tax. Real talk. So that's why we prefer the more direct investing that way. But hey, there's nothing wrong with having multiple diversified investments. Okay. So you reach that point where, yeah, why not put a little money into some bigger companies who are doing bigger things than you are? Why not? But that's why I'm doing a lot of education this month, meaning the month of April, right now as I speak on my website. I've got a blog up, which is all about smart investing for entrepreneurs. So don't go look at it now. Just want a few more minutes to talk about this. But when you go there, you will see the blog, and I'm going through just kind of some do's and don'ts and things to watch out for as an entrepreneur investing, not someone who's going to work, hopefully can continue to go to a job, okay, sit at their desk, and you know your money's coming, and it's kind of on autopilot. As long as you keep showing up, someone's already planned the work. They've put the resources in place for your work. They've provided the desk. They've done all the things that we have to do for ourselves as entrepreneurs. They've done that for you. So hopefully you keep going to that, and that money keeps coming. And so, yeah, you can afford for money to just passively come out of your paycheck before you get it, because you know the money's coming, right? Or hopefully it's going to keep coming. And then hopefully you've got reserves in case the worst happens, right? So you've got that emergency fund. You can just continue to keep going. You have these things in place. For us as entrepreneurs, our cash flow, it's unpredictable. There's ups and downs. That's a big part with those of you who followed your returns and you want to go ahead and get into investing. If this is your season, meaning the spring, summertime, go for it, because your revenue is going to go up. If this is a time of year you have like an outdoor business, something recreational, something that people, as I mentioned in the beginning, are going to be spending money on, you're going to be in the money with extra money. And so it's a great time to go into this season. And if it's not your season, if fall is your season, this is a great time, again, to plan ahead for these ups and downs. But of course, have your reserves for those rainy days or for those times when, okay, nobody's buying Christmas trees right now. Or some people aren't. Some people are, and they're getting the deals, but you know what I'm saying. I want to switch gears for a little bit for this last few minutes. This whole investing conversation really, really lights a fire in me for several reasons. Back when COVID hit, so we're talking 2020, right at 4 years ago, I got 3 licenses I never talk about. The Series 6, the Series 63, and the 65. 2 years later, I walked away from all those licenses. They have since expired. It was so hard to walk away from those licenses, but getting them gave me the inside look at the industry. And I'm not saying you don't have great financial advisors out there. You might. Because I had those licenses, I was privy to information that you would not believe. A lot of them they're not for entrepreneurs at all. Bad advice. If you're an entrepreneur and you have an advisor telling you to lock up your money in 401ks, IRAs, SEPs, you need a new advisor, because entrepreneurship, we're not trying to lose money. We know what it takes to make that money. The last thing we want to do is go back and it's gone. But that's what you're doing. You're subjecting your profits to the market. And everybody knows that feeling. A lot of business owners going through it right now. So what's the alternative? End up leaving money in the bank. You would be amazed. We saw it for the bank meltdowns last year. Hundreds of thousands of dollars is not even insured sitting in banks. Why? Because at least the odds are greater that money's going to be there. It's ridiculous, right? But that's why we do that. That's why I see it all the time. So, no, if that's their strategy, you need to keep shopping. And as a matter of fact, you don't need to shop because I have a team in place. That's why I'm devoting this whole podcast episode. We've got the team, May 4th. Just go ahead and write it down real quick. May 4th, 10 a.m. Central Time. We're going to be doing a family financial workshop. Now, This is because I believe in involving the kids. It's summertime. You can hire your kids. That's a tax strategy. So we're going to touch on that really quickly. But you go to the website, go to that specific blog that I'm doing on investing, and you'll see the flyer. See the link. You'll be able to register for it. It is Zoom because we want as many people to be able to get there as possible. But that's the first thing. And then here's the other problem with these traditional plans. The whole purpose for my being is to help you pay less taxes. Unless you need to pay more taxes because you're trying to get a loan. But we've talked about that. That's not what this episode is about. But in general, we're trying to take our taxes and reinvest them in our business. That's the goal. The rules. And that's another reason why, to me, you need to run, don't walk from an advisor that tells you to do this, because now you can't even touch your own money. You've done the work to make your profits. We've done the tax strategies. Now you put into these plans and they're literally locked up for years and years, depending on your age, serious years. Now you're giving me a tax document. It's happened, oh my God, so many times. You're giving me a tax document because you needed your own money back early. And we just undid all the tax deductions that we worked so hard, the business deductions. Now you've got this bad investment hanging over the return, and there's nothing we can do about it, but you now pay tax. So you've lost all the benefits of the write-offs because of that. I can tell you stories on that. So what's my point? We need strategies that give us two things. They allow us to have our tax deductions now. And I already told you, investing in you versus outside in the market is going to give you the maximum there. But what we're going to be talking about on the 4th of May is how to get tax-free distributions later. That's the other thing. We're always looking to redirect our taxes that we would be paying without strategies back into our businesses. So what we're going to be sharing, and that's why we're calling it a family financial seminar, is because this touches everyone in the household. If you're saving for college and you're doing these, again, traditional plans with these traditional rules as an entrepreneur, you're going to have these restrictions. Your funds are going to be restricted. What if the child doesn't go to college? Now you're dealing with tax ramifications, even if they do down the line. I want to introduce you to Justin. Justin Kendall, he's a senior associate with the Miliare group in Frisco, Texas. I'm going to let you hear Justin because I wanted to devote some time on this episode for you to hear some of what we'll be sharing on May 4th. Everybody knows about the bank account. That you're not making money, but few people know about these 401ks that they really need to be taking that closer look with too. And so at tax time, clients are coming to me and they haven't even heard from their financial advisor. I'm already helping people get that closer look at their numbers, but to be able to now have these extra conversations to make it easier to look at 401ks.
Mutual funds, there's a lot of downsides to mutual funds that people aren't really told or explained. They're just like, oh yeah, put your money in this, it's going to grow. Sounds great, but you actually will get taxed twice on mutual fund money. You don't like paying taxes one time, let alone two times. For small business owners, most of them are not utilizing Tax Code IRC 162.
Big words.
Yeah, keywords. That is an amazing tax strategy. Not only is it an investment for you and your future, it's also a tax write-off for your business, and it gives you tax-free funding for your future.
Love it. And as small business owners, we want tax-free money, and especially if it's our money.
We have amazing strategies for real estate investors and agents. I was talking to a real estate agent and she's like, in our business, I've got to pay like 40% in taxes on my LLC. And like, that's insane. Like if we help you set up this strategy, we could drop that down to like 18%, which is huge. These accounts, you don't get taxes because of a handy tax code 7702A, which prevents any money from being taxed.
I'm so excited to be working with you because you're talking small business talk. We as business owners, we don't want to lose our money. We don't want to lose ground.
Personally, I don't think it's a very great idea to gamble your financial future in the market.
We are gambling enough to show up every day
Yeah.
and put on uniform. That's gamble enough in small business. That is investing. We don't get enough credit that this is an investment, and people don't look at it that way. So that's awesome.
It's really sad. Like a lot of CPAs, not you, Mildred. Mildred, you're amazing. You love your clients. You take such good care of them. But I've heard stories about CPAs in this business, and like they got a second opinion, and they're like, "What did you have a CPA for? They weren't getting you any deductions. They weren't doing anything for you." Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Sometimes CPAs are like, "I don't know how you got here as a CPA because you're not doing your job." So that's why we need more people like you, Mildred, who are actually helping these people get those deductions, save their money, not give it all to the government.
Yeah. No, it's true. And it is our right. It is our right, small business owner, to pay less tax. Yeah. So all of this stuff is completely legal. And that big code Justin threw out there, IRS, all of this, go look it up. It's out there. Yeah. But because, like you said, the professionals need to take that extra time. It took a lot of extra time for me to get into this lane, to learn, to get the licenses. But that's because I'm passionate about this. And so you want to connect with professionals who are willing to do that little extra to help you do that extra with your money.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, I love that about you, Mildred.
Thank you, Justin.
You care. You take that extra step.
Isn't that awesome? I mean, can you believe what you just heard? Like, I get excited just even thinking I'm a part of something like this. And as I learn, I'm going to share it with you and so on. So, all right, we will be back here next month, again, possibly in between May 4th. Check out the blog at YourMoneyDr.com. If you ever want to send a message, though, you can always find me on social media, YourMoneyDr, all the platforms. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to know that you're listening. And you know what? I'm just going to say it. If you really enjoy these episodes, would you please leave me a review? I need to ask. We have not because we ask not. I really appreciate a review and just to know how this is helping you along your journey, especially if it's entrepreneurship that you've taken on. And so I just appreciate you so much. Mildred Dillon, CPA, saying make it a great day, especially for your money and your investing strategies and your family. And we'll see you next episode.